Dad Mod's Media Machine presents the Brews with the Dudes podcast.
Feces?
The whole state already smells like shit, so.
Are you saying feces help the corn grow?
Well, I mean, it's fertilizer.
Yeah.
Is human waste fertilizer though?
To an extent, I'm sure it is.
I mean, how is it different than any other mammal's
Well,
waste?
I always assumed it has to do with the diet of whatever's fertilizing.
You mean to
the
tell
crop.
me PBR will not fertilize crops? Get out of here.
Well, I wonder. I mean, it's like, so you compare a wild animal. What's most common fertilizer made out of? Cows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
And cows eat primarily grass.
So you're saying that
Well,
vegetarians going to have better fertilizing
I don't
shit
know.
than somebody who eats a lot of meat?
because
No.
humans eat a lot of terrible things.
We could do an experiment. We could each plant a garden this spring. We'll fertilize it with our own shit, and we each eat different diets. See what happens.
One of us
That's
eats
a
really good.
interesting
One
idea.
eats normal and one eats horrible.
Yep.
See who grows better.
It's what do we make?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes? Yeah. So
Tomatoes?
we're all crapping on a tomato plant. Do we see? Well, here's the thing, though. We'd all have to make sure that we're doing it the same way, so that like
what, like a handstand? You're trying to launch it onto the plant?
no,
or
just like I mean,
Like, do we have
So-
a control group with like store-bought fertilizer?
yeah. But
Okay, that's a
are
good
we
idea.
talking like you're gonna literally just like there's this poor plant that's trying to grow, and you're gonna drop a hot coil on top of it? Like, I mean, I feel like that might be the problem. So how do you
I guess
properly
application
fertilize?
methods probably up to
So
you.
do you kill
Yeah.
two birds with one stone if you have diarrhea?
How
So
much
you're like
do you want your
watering it
neighbors to
and
judge you?
fertilizing at the same time?
Your neighbors to judge you? I don't know.
Oh, it's worse
You
than
gonna
a
put it in a ninja blender and then?
Or you like go pop a squat on your plant.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's my thought. It's like I'd literally go and shit on it, but
I
it's.
could see Steve out there with a slap chop, chopping up turds for his fertilizer.
Is that what you use for like
Onions
walnuts and stuff?
Yeah. Chop, 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 chop.
I mean, if it works.
Taking my normal dump. Hey neighbor.
Yeah.
Why do you fertilize your
morning.
garden at 9:05 every morning? Well, because at 8:50,
Yeah.
I make the fertilizer.
And would you need to mix it with soil? Yeah, because normal fertilizer isn't just straight
fuck,
shit. I
if
think
that-
it's mixed with other
If that's
stuff.
the case, I'll
Well,
just
do you-
use Roman shit. He eats dirt anyways.
Or do you just like add it to your compost?
See, that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder if you could just. So if you just like didn't have running water in your house for a week, you could just go crap in your compost pile. You imagine how bad that smells.
Man, we are solving problems left and right again.
We are. So in the last episode, we're gonna form the pizza party,
Yeah.
and now we're gonna deal with what would this be? We're gonna find a new way to fertilize. What would this be? What would be the benefit of shitting it rather than down? Well, it's easier on the waste management side
Oh
of
yeah,
things.
absolutely.
So it's
less water, so we're using less resources. So we
There
can
it is.
finally fix Flint, and they can have something to drink finally. So look at that.
Wait, how would us crapping in
Because
the
we're
woods?
using less water, we can give them our water so they can drink that shit now.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, see?
Okay.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
So do you have any input? I mean, how do we fix Flint's problems?
I ain't going anywhere near that.
All right. Hey, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Brews with the Dudes podcast. We are almost 4 minutes into this thing, but we're starting. Here we are. I'm Jake Lindquist.
I'm Donnie Allen. And
Steven
you guys
Collins.
know this guy. That doesn't need an introduction anymore.
He's the longtime listener, first-time
Caller.
fondler or
Yeah,
something.
like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's no fondling going on anymore.
Not
No.
right now.
Not right now.
currently.
No. Should we just dive right into that subject?
We're gonna dive right into the beers. So your beard, you're good.
I'll try one of those.
So I picked up a Earth Rider Cloud Top Hazy IPA. It looks fabulous.
It does look fabulous.
Good looking beer.
It is.
Earth Rider's
It's
got
a nice
good
looking.
shit, so.
And also on that topic, since this is a perfect segue, we're excited to announce that the Machines and Caffeine shows are a go, and Earth Rider signed on for the very first show, so they're going to be there.
Yep, so come look at cars, come have a few drinks, something to eat.
Drink some beer. Yep, we've got food truck.
Yep, so there'll be PB&Js and beer. No,
Yeah.
I don't know what the food truck's going to have. They could have PB&J.
They have some funky stuff. It's like burrito stuffed with taco something. It's crazy.
That
like
sounds
pulled
fantastic.
pork or
Yeah.
something like
Sold.
that. It had all kinds of funky shit.
That'd be fantastic.
Yes. Now I feel like a dick for not drinking Earth Rider.
That's okay. If you want one, you can have one.
Or you could just leave, since you're being a dick.
I am a dick.
Jesus, man.
No. I haven't seen
So-
you in a while, so I have to,
It's been a hot
You
minute.
gotta
make
catch
last
up
time.
for
gotta
all the
break you down again.
shit talking.
So you can build me back up or just leave me down.
That's usually what he does. Is he just tries to beat you down.
Yeah.
He takes the challenges in his personal life and then he takes it out
there's
on his
so
friends
many
around
challenges. So many challenges.
him. Should we just go straight into it?
Yeah, the first challenge.
The first challenge is going a week without ejaculating.
Oh man, that's the second worst thing about getting a vasectomy. Oh, let me rephrase that. As it says on Essentia's paperwork, voluntary
Stabilization. Stabilizing your sex life with your wife.
something like that. Voluntary sterilization is what it says on my paperwork.
Which is the best name. Which is the best phrasing.
It's like, how can we make this sound as nice as possible, even though it's not?
It's such a sanitized phrase.
It's vanilla.
It's
just
very vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are 3 dads now that have all had the snip snap. So we've got 3 geldings in one place. All at different stages of the process. So I was the first to get the snip snap, then Steve, and now Donnie's the latest.
Yeah, on Monday, so like 4 days ago.
So you were still in the state of healing.
Yeah, I still got stitches in my balls.
Yeah. So we get to swap stories, and this should be kind of
Oh,
fun.
man.
Because I've got 2 stories to tell.
All right.
But
Who's
so
going-
you're the most recent, most fresh in your
So you want
mind,
me to
and
go
you had
first?
something that you want to talk about.
I have a couple things I want to talk
Was it a
about.
hot nurse?
No, she wasn't hot at all.
Pop a chub in the middle of it?
No. No, so, all right. You go there, they give you your Valium. I had diazepam, which I took. They said, like, oh, take it when you get there. We'll bring you back in an hour. They did not bring me back in an hour. They brought me back in 40 minutes. And I told her, I'm like, I'm not feeling this medication yet. Like, she's like, oh, that's fine. We got some paperwork for you to do and go over some things and all that. I'm like, okay. And eventually it starts kicking in.
Yeah.
But the worst part of the whole experience is when they get started, because you're not numb yet. They have to find what they're gonna snip. So they're down there, and I don't know what he was doing, but I'm surprised to have testicles left because he was pulling and pinching and fucking stretching shit. It was so goddamn uncomfortable. And as he's fucking got your balls like literally in his hands, like he's trying to crack a walnut, you just see him grab a syringe. And you're like, what the fuck are you going to do with that?
I'm getting flashbacks right now.
It was awful.
Yeah.
And then he pokes, he's like, you feel a little poke? I'm like, yeah, I bet I fucking am. And when he went to inject me the first time, the nurse had her forearm in front because I like naturally just was like going to push him away.
No shit.
And so she's holding her arm there, and I'm tensing up, and I'm pushing on her arm, and she's like, just push on my arm and breathe. And like, I didn't breathe either. So I instantly got hot and sweaty right out of the get-go. And then like you get numb, you feel that burning sensation from the lidocaine, and then you go numb. And eventually, like, I just didn't care at that point. I'm just staring at the ceiling, and they start talking to you about the weirdest of shit. Like, oh, what are your kids like? What do you do for work and all that? Like, you're cutting open my balls right now, and you want to know what I do from 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock? Get the fuck out of here.
Oh man.
And then, like, you're just carrying on a conversation like you ran into your best friend at the grocery store. And then all of a sudden you look down, and there's just a little cloud of smoke that comes up, followed by the nastiest smell of burning skin. And you got to wear a mask during all of this.
Oh,
so then you
man.
got burning skin smell in your mask. And it's just...
This is why I want Donnie to go first, because it is so fresh in your mind. Because I forgot about the puff of smoke.
How could you forget about the puff of smoke?
So we
I
started...
totally did.
Well,
I'll tell you why I forgot.
I don't know why I said we. They started on...
I mean, I was
on the
there,
right,
but
and they
I
had
was holding your hand.
They cauterized that. Somebody had to hold the flashlight. So yeah, so they cauterized that, and then apparently they need to cauterize a little bit of skin. So you see another little cloud of smoke come up. Stitches me up on the one side, and it's not like a little stitch, like you see him like he's making a fucking blanket down there. His arms fucking coming up like this. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
At that point, he's just fucking with you.
Like,
Yeah, these big like dramatic movements.
I'm like, how big of an incision is this? Like, are you like did one fall out? You're trying to stitch that back in too? Like, Jesus Christ.
He's like, how much can I make this kid squirm?
Yeah, pretty much.
And so then we go on to the next side, and they got numb you on that side too. And that side was worse. So you go through all. At this point, like when you're numb, so you kind of just don't care. You're just numbed out and all that. You're fine. And then he starts the other side, and it's like you have amnesia, and you just forgot how painful it was the first time around. They grabbed your balls and tried to find it, and all that kind of shit. And now you're drugged up. You're numb on one side. They're doing that, and it's just horrible. You feel pain up into your belly and shit like that. I had to get 3 shots of lidocaine though on my left side. Mm-hmm. Like the one side was just one and done. He did one, and he's like, "Can you feel this?" I'm like, I can feel that. Okay, well, I'll just give you another bit. Can you feel this? I'm like, I can still fucking feel it. And he's like, well, you're paying for all of it, so here you go.
Really, is that what he
Yeah,
said?
he's like, I can't use this on anybody else, so it's just
I'm just gonna keep shooting you up full of it.
yeah. So we do that and all that again.
Did you walk out of there?
Talking about everything under the sun. You know, what kind of dogs do you have and all that, and how long you've been married. And then a little cloud of smoke comes up. Like, okay.
He's like a weird magician.
Yeah, so you're like, cool. Like, you gonna pull a rabbit out? Like, what's next?
Testicle wizard.
And that's kind of like your signal to like, oh, we're halfway done now. Like I saw the smoke, so I'm stitching me back up and all that, and he cleans up and they stop the bleeding, which was like it didn't click in my mind. Like you're probably gonna be bleeding because they sliced open your ball sack, but they're like, oh, good, we're gonna keep some pressure on there and make sure you stop bleeding and all that. And he takes off his gloves. He's like, well, I hope you have a good rest of your day. And I looked at him like, well, it can only go up from here. And then, yeah, they just let you lay there for 15 minutes until you kind of come to a little bit. And
Yeah, when the benzos rub off.
yeah, and then
Wear
they're
off.
like, okay, no having sex for a week, ice it, and like just sit on your ass for the next 2 days. And,
Right. Oh man. So Steve,
Yeah.
what was your experience like?
Like, I felt like mine actually went pretty smooth. Like, I took my Valium or Benzo, whatever.
Have
like,
him, Donnie, help him pull that a little bit because he's talking towards us. Have him pull a little bit.
like that.
Oh man, I almost got to like move that back a little bit more towards you. All right, sorry, guys. Just want Steve to be able to be heard.
for once. So, anyways,
There we go.
Take my Valium, and like, I don't ever remember. Like, I'm pretty sure this thing ain't working. Like
That's how I felt.
like I don't know. I don't normally take scripts like that, but
Yeah,
so, like
right.
I don't really like I don't think this is doing anything. Like, but at the same time, I was probably a little too comfortable with what was going on than I probably should have been. So maybe it was working. I just didn't realize it. Mm-hmm. That's
It just kind of like makes you super relaxed. Like,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
noticed like all of a sudden we're just talking,
But-
and I got lost in conversations.
I'm pretty relaxed generally, anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but when some dude's got your balls in his hands and a fucking
Oh,
scalpel,
for sure. Like the
Yeah,
two of you.
I was in hindsight, I was more comfortable with that than I probably should have been.
like I was laying down and she got me all cleaned up and put the fucking sanitary wipes and all that shit over there. And then she pulls up a tool of trays. And I remember looking up and being like, there's like 15 different pairs of scissors and shit there. And just thinking to myself, like, this
man.
doesn't look pretty. This is like a
Well, you don't
Tim
like
Burton
blood,
film.
right? You
No.
don't like blood. You don't like needles.
Nope.
So this is already going to be a little harder for you to deal with.
And my wife didn't go with me either.
Mm-hmm.
So she got stuck working. So my sister-in-law went with me.
Oh, okay.
Which is it's fine. She's cool as shit. But I had to give her a warning, like, just so you know, when they give me medications and drugs, I have a tendency to fucking say shit. Like when I got my teeth pulled years ago.
What?
When I got my teeth pulled years ago, my wife was with me, and I came too. and I was hitting on the nurse in front of my wife.
Nice.
When I got my appendix out and they drugged me up before I went back for surgery, I was shit talking the doctor.
Really?
He's like, "Oh, are you ready?" I'm like, "Am I ready?" I'm like, "I just gotta fucking lay here. Are you ready? You're the one that's gotta do this." He just kind of looked at me. I'm like, "You fucking asshole."
Really? You were seriously
Yeah, that's exactly
insulting the guy?
That's what I told him.
You called him a fucking asshole?
No, I didn't call him an asshole. But
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
like, "What are you asking me if I'm ready? Like, I don't gotta do anything. You're gonna knock my ass out. You're the one that's gotta cut me
man.
up and
Let's
fucking
shit
take
talk the
shit
guy
out."
who's about to cut you open.
Yeah, my wife just.
Yeah.
I remember her looking at me like, just shut up. just go. Just get this done.
God, so yours was pretty smooth sailing.
I think so.
Worst part was the trying to find it right before the lidocaine, wasn't it?
No.
No.
Steve's used to having his balls tugged on.
That's true.
That's his fetish.
They're like, "Sir, can you stop popping a Woody? We're trying to get this done."
They had to put lidocaine on the penis because it kept getting erect. Like, need this thing to not feel
Stop.
anything.
Back.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem. Like, it probably knew things were happening. Like, you can't get excited for this.
No, you
Yeah,
can't.
no kidding.
I will
Oh.
say that was a fear, though. I'm like, what happens if I just pop wood halfway through this?
Well, I had a really attractive nurse.
Did you?
And that was a thought that crossed my mind. Is like, this could get awkward because she's handling it and pushing it out of the way and
They're
doing
gonna
all these
hold
things.
it up
you
out
know?
of the way. So they're like,
Yeah, exactly.
I heard stories from a friend that had that problem.
He kept popping and
Oh,
shove. Was it an attractive nurse too?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish his stories are much better, but I can't retell them. But
Oh, nice. Maybe we'll have to have him on here. We'll have 4 people that have all been snip snapped because we can fit a 4th on here.
we could. Yeah,
But when they were like washing me down with the iodine and everything, like I swear they just like took it out of the freezer.
Oh,
'cause
same
that was
here.
ice cold. I don't think I could have got it up if I wanted to at that point.
I
Like
remember.
straight up any.
I remember telling the
man.
nurse like recommendation for the next guy: heat it up in the microwave first.
No kidding.
Shit was cold.
They probably do that
Yeah,
on
that was
purpose.
really bad.
Probably. It's that way you don't pop a wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just like I felt like it made my ball bag just shrink too
Yeah.
because everything
might-
got tight gripped.
Well, it might be easier to find things. Everything's more compact.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
true.
No, but then you're drugged up and you're like, okay, great. Now I got shrinkage going on and I got a nurse grabbing my balls. It's like, fuck.
At that point, I don't really care what it looks like.
That's the thing.
fair
Like
enough.
once the benzos kicked in for me, so you guys are both pretty chill dudes. And granted, this is a situation that you're going to be very unchill in.
Yeah.
But for me, like I just kind of like my resting point is a little bit of anxiety. I'm kind of always got a little teeny bit of anxiety. Not as bad as I used to be, but when that stuff kicked in, when the benzos kicked in, I was like, oh, this is really nice. Like,
Like,
I'm
can I get more of
I'm
these?
so relaxed right now. I'm like, I can see why people are really addicted to these.
Well, see, so the weird thing to me is I recently started taking some medications, and they didn't ask me if I was on any new medications until after I took the benzo and went back and saw the doctor. And she asked me, she's like, "Yeah, you on any meds?" And I told her, and I'm like, "Shouldn't you have asked this before I took more narcotics?" Like, why are we asking after the fact?
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. I live.
I don't know. That's funny. It's funny. I don't know. Well, okay. So your situation was fairly straightforward. Nothing overly memorable about it, besides the fact that they were dicing up your scrot.
Yeah, nothing. Not like I do it all the time, but I think it was pretty pretty routine.
So when they were like doing the poke and trying to kind of make sure that you were numb, it was all just straightforward injection.
Yeah,
good to go.
Yeah, straightforward, down to the point.
So you had the first time the right side was
One and done.
one and done, and the second side they had to keep adding,
It's
right?
3 times.
Okay. So did they here? How would I just tell my story? I'll just tell my
Did they
story
just knock
because
you
there's a
out?
few pieces of this. No, actually. So I had a pretty traumatic experience. It was crazy. Okay, so they're doing all the usual stuff. They've got the iodine. It's cold as shit. It's
yeah.
Shrinkage, all that kind of stuff. Hot nurse. Try not to get excited. And because the drugs had kicked in by this point, so I'm chill and I'm relaxed, and then they're starting to kind of, you know, like you were talking about, like grab and pull on your ball bag and
I can
trying
still
to,
feel
like,
the pain.
kind of adjust everything and figure out, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to find the tubes, the what vas deferens or whatever. And so he starts doing the injections and stuff on mine, and you know, it's the same thing where he did, I think, 1 or 2 injections on the right side, and he's like, "Does this feel pretty numb?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't really feel a whole lot." And he's like, "Okay, cool." And so he starts doing the slicing and dicing, and I'm like, "Okay, whatever, you know, everything's right as rain."
Yeah.
Then, do you guys remember when they bring out the clamps?
A little bit.
I was just trying to stare at the ceiling and not pay
Yeah.
attention to what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they
I remember feeling a clamp, but not any like pain from it.
so they break out the clamp, and they clamp me. I felt it.
Oof.
I like zero. I felt it as if there was zero numbing of it.
Oh no!
You guys ever seen The Exorcist?
Which one?
Where
Did you
she,
about
like-
hit the ceiling?
Yeah, where she just, like, you know,
Oh,
does the
yeah.
whole, like, off the bed, like,
Yep.
almost like levitating. Like, I did that. They clamped it. I felt it as if there was zero numbing agent, whatever, lidocaine, whatever. It was the most incredibly awful pain I've ever felt in my entire life. It was unreal. Clamped that shit. And then she's like, you know, everybody panics. They're just like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And I'm just like, "I feel it. I fucking feel it. And I'm like losing my mind on these people. And they're like, okay. And they grab a bunch of fucking other, you know, lidocaine or whatever, and they're shooting me up in a few other places. And they're like, "Is it any better?" And it's finally, the pain is starting to kind of drift a little bit. But like at this point, my body's so tense that I'm just like, yeah, just sore and I'm just hurting. And so finally, I'm going numb on it, and the nurse is explaining to me, and I'm trying to remember how this all came to be, but so she had said that there's a few people that have a there it is. Now I'm remembering the detail. So I get a rash on my stomach from a certain belt that I wear. And at the time, I had like this little, it's strange because it's like the belt buckle and it's just below the belly button. And I'll get like this little teeny rash right there. And what it is it's a nickel allergy. And she's just like, and you know, she's like, "By chance, do you have a nickel allergy?" And this is after this happened. And I was like, "Yes, why?" And she's like, "Sometimes when the lidocaine, they've got like a higher tolerance for it, they have nickel allergies."
Weird.
And I'm like, I would have loved to have had that question a little while ago.
That should be on the questionnaire.
Yeah. Like, "Nurse, you've got this great theory. Tell the doctors. Make this a part of your questionnaire."
They just come in with a club and just hit you in the head.
Oh
They're
my
just
God.
knocked out for all of it.
It
There you go.
was unreal. And they did the other side, and they shot it up like crazy and everything, so it was fine. Did they pull it out after they cut the section out? Did they show you guys it?
I asked to see it.
You got to see it. So it's
So-
this weird little bright white tube. Oh, what did they do to me?
Mine. So they
Wait, what did they cut out?
It's not supposed to hurt when you pee.
Yeah, right. It's urethra.
So they had to send mine off to the lab to verify.
Is this the right tube?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what was a pathology, I think is what it was. So that they took a sample of each and they sent it off to verify it. And I actually just got the paperwork, and yeah, it's all good. But I looked at it, and in the little
I think that was standard because I think they sent mine to the lab too.
yeah, so the little jar that they had, it was like this little red, like a little red section of tube.
Oh, mine was bright white.
Maybe
I
that's
don't know
what.
why.
Maybe
Wait, what did they cut out of me?
maybe that's from all the cocaine.
Oh, it could be. It could be. Oh my God. Weird. Well, I went to a different clinic than you guys did. You guys went to Essentia. I
Yeah,
went to
ours is
St. Louis.
certified.
Right.
Did you go to the animal shelter?
Well, that's funny. I mean, I might have. The wife just dropped me off.
Of the next
I'm high on benzos.
the next patient was a golden retriever. You went to the wrong place.
Fly down to Tijuana.
It would have been nice
border.
though. Yeah, a bit cheaper, and I had a snuggle buddy.
Hey, it really
Could
smells
have
like,
done the lipo at the same time.
Lipo. At this point, I could use it.
really smells like cat piss in here. I can't figure out why.
Ugh.
I almost
Yeah.
asked that joke. I almost asked him if I could get a discount for our St. Bernard. Because he
Right.
too needs to be snipped.
Oh my god. So that was a wild story, and so I asked my dad because he had obviously gotten a vasectomy after the third, and there's 3 of us kids.
That's what third means.
Yes, but I don't know, like if everybody understands. So my dad, I'm sharing my story with my dad, and he just starts laughing, and he's just like, "I got a story for you. I got a vasectomy story for you." So he is laying down on the cold hospital bed, or whatever these things are, the gurneys or whatever they dice us up on the surgery table, and you know how like when they shot you up with lidocaine, they waited a little while,
Yeah,
and they
it was
like
like 20
tested it or
seconds,
whatever. His doctor went slice. Yeah, I mean, my dad said he waited about 30 seconds and then just started opening him up.
He had somewhere to be.
He's like, I got tea time at 3 and I'm not fucking missing
man.
that.
When my dad told me that, I felt so much better. It's like, at least I didn't feel scalpel on my scrot.
I don't feel so bad about my experience.
Yeah, exactly. Could be worse. It could be the Lindquist experience.
Oh, man. You guys got the short end of the stick on that one.
Yeah.
It was wild. I mean, I don't understand the whole, like, it wasn't numb, they clamped it off thing, but I'm glad it's over with.
Yeah,
Don't got to worry about accidentally making more kids.
same here. Yeah, so they have you jerk off into a cup. And like, well, they say
Yeah, it's
they
like
they didn't tell me a time frame. They just like make sure you get off 20 times, then jerk off.
They
in
didn't
a
give
cup.
you a time frame?
No.
Because they even scheduled like my lab appointment for me.
What?
Oh, did they? Yeah.
They
Yeah.
sent me. They sent me home with a cup,
Well, they did that
and
too.
I have some chemical tube sitting in my fridge. And she's like, "Whenever you deposit it, just write down the date and time, then drop it off at the clinic."
Chemical tube?
Yeah, I got this little tube that's like this. It's got some red liquid in
It's
it.
like a preservative.
Yeah, it's sitting in my my fridge right now.
Really? So you make a parfait out of your jism?
Yes.
You put granola in it
Yeah,
too?
she's banana slices.
Nice.
But yeah, she's like, yeah, whenever you deposit your sample, she's like, just write down the
man.
date and the time on the label and drop it off at the clinic. Like,
I
give-
love
give-
the
give 'em a heads
phrasing
up.
that they use. They
Well,
all just
it's-
beat her on the bush.
Oh yeah,
Nobody
They-
wants to be
They
crass.
actually like made a date for me. to do
they,
it.
they did not make a date for me.
Nice.
She's like,
Yeah, it's less than a week away.
oh, she's like, you just do this. at
Oh
home."
wait, really? Like yours still hasn't
No, I still haven't done my. Next
The-
Wednesday
the
is my lab appointment.
post spank?
Oh man,
Yeah,
Yeah, but obviously, like you've shot a plenty.
I've been
So-
working on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so you haven't yet.
no, because I have to wait a week. So that'd be Monday. I've already warned the wife. I'm
Too
like,
fresh.
just wait.
See, and this is so funny because he's warned the wife. Okay, so my first time that I wanted to like let her rip, I didn't want the wife to have anything to do with it. I
Same.
wanted this to be strictly manual because I had I was just nervous about
don't
it.
give a
I was
shit.
like, "What's gonna happen? Is it gonna hurt?" Like
That's the first one's a little nerve wracking.
it is, yeah.
I've read up on it. It doesn't hurt. I've read you might see blood in your semen. There's
Yeah.
that. Whatever. Don't give a shit.
Okay, that's funny. So okay, you're well, and I'm not
she-
surprised
she
that
pushed-
you're just gung ho.
She pushed the snip. Oh, I shouldn't say pushed.
Requested.
She requested it. Yeah. So she gets what she gets. Sorry.
This is so funny. It's just difference in opinions. Like Donnie just can't wait because you're already like a very horny person.
Oh yeah. We already bang like 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah, so you're just like you're itching to hook up with the wife.
So we have a chalkboard in between.
We've got this golden retriever, and that's where you're going with this.
No, only female animal we have is the cat. She's a cunt. So, so in between our 2 doorways into our kitchen, we have a chalkboard painted on the wall there. And I was cleaning off a section of it the other day, and the wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Making room for tally marks."
Nice.
And she's like, "What?" Oh. Like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling.
I love that you're gonna show her.
I'm not gonna label what it is. They're just gonna see some tally marks.
Are you gonna try and do it as many times as you can in such a short period of time?
Yes.
Nice.
So I told her like they said 20 times. Like I'm pretty sure I could knock that out in a weekend with enough Gatorade. Like you're just gonna come home from work and there's just gonna be 15 up there. You'll be like, "What the fuck were you doing?"
Oh my god, Donnie.
What?
Just be like, yeah, sorry about your pillowcase.
Yeah.
Does it still count if it's a blank?
Does it count if it's a blank?
Why, you shot a blank?
No, I'm just if he's just going for like as many as he can like in a weekend.
Oh, sure.
I'll keep track of
That's
that.
true. You got to clean the pipes. That's the goal of it.
Well, that's what I told her. I'm like, doctor's orders. Like, it's got to get done.
Right?
Sorry. She works evenings all next week except for Monday. So guess what I'm doing? Kids go to bed at 7:30. Yeah, I could probably get
harass my wife.
I could probably get 2 to 3 out by the time I go to bed.
So
Crank them out.
Go raid your sock drawer.
Yeah.
I don't even need that.
I think that was the last time I was on.
I do not need your
The
sock.
sock incident.
Do not need a sock.
You don't need a
I
sock?
do not need a sock full of 20 loads.
One sock? It'd need to be like a big, tall tube sock.
Yeah, something like that.
So you just
Disgusting.
progressively work your way up.
Oh.
What, to a sport cut?
I mean, this isn't like the tally marks on a door frame as your kid gets older, taller.
Crusty spots on the tube sock.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was number 20, honey.
All right, we're good.
This is just like it's a sword. It's just rock solid.
What's that for? That's for somebody breaks into the house, just club them.
Club them. Yeah, you store it under the seat of your car. You never know.
After you knock them out, then you disgust them with it.
You tell them what you hit them with.
That's nasty.
Oh,
These are the
man.
swimmers of my unborn children.
Welcome to the family, bitch. Oh man.
God.
Yeah, so it's wild, like going through that whole experience and now being like, okay, like no stress. It's funny because the whirlwind of family creation is like you've got the early days where you're doing everything in your power to not knock up your girlfriend, significant other, side piece, whatever.
Yeah, your left hand. I mean, whatever.
Just trying to not impregnate something because life as you know it will get fucking wild. And then you get married and then you're like, okay, now I want to do this. Now that's the goal.
And then you have kids and you instantly regret it.
Yeah.
Like,
But
no more of that.
then you return to your previous state where you're like, anything but making more of these.
Yeah.
You know? And let me tell you, the peace of mind. So you and the wife haven't given it a go yet then.
No.
So you're still waiting for the clearance from the old doc or Reno.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. The freedom once you get your results that there are no swimmers in your juice is the most like it's just it's a peace. It is an inner peace.
I'm really worried that
You guys have a
it's gonna come back with swimmers still there, and like I'll be like the 1% that's got like a third Vass in there, and I gotta go back and do it again.
Well, here's the kicker. Did the doctors explain to you that these things can reconnect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What do you mean, doctor, that they can reconnect
Yeah,
after
your
they've been
body's just
severed?
like, here you go. Guess what?
If that
Take a couple more inches.
if that
Make 'em work
isn't
for it.
natural selection, I don't know what
no
is.
shit.
That is a like evolutionary
How would
thing.
that? How would that make you feel though? That if yours didn't reconnect, but mine did. So like, am I a better male than you are? Because my shit's like, no,
Your
have
genes
to,
are
you
meant
have
to live
spread
on
it
at
out.
that point.
Maybe.
Like,
Or it means that your doctor didn't cauterize it enough. He didn't see enough smoke.
I saw tons of smoke. The guy was trying to send signals over there.
No, I think when they seal up the ends of it, I think what do they do? They do a clamp or a staple, and then I think they also stitch the end or something like
I don't
that.
fucking know.
I think some of them knot it too.
Yeah,
Boy, oh, you must have been a Boy Scout.
And then
Boy
they,
Scout, good job, Doc.
it's a fisherman's knot.
And they purposely like try to place them as far away from each other as they can.
Yeah, which is so insane to think that they reconnect if you just slice out a little section. They'll just slowly. Wow.
Shit, if you pissed me off, I wouldn't want to reconnect to you at all.
Well, it just makes me wonder, like, how does that in nature? How often do vas deferens get split or broken that they need to reconnect like that?
Well, if you're a deer and you're like jumping over that barbed wire fence, and
Rip open your sack, yeah. So, speaking of which, so, God, how old was I at the time? It's like 12, maybe 12. There's a little boy that, at the time we were all kids, that lived in the same cul-de-sac area that we lived in. His name was Eric, and I think he was 9 at the time.
Little Eric is
A
9.
little younger than us.
Oh,
He always
God.
tried to keep up with my buddy and I because he's the younger kid in the neighborhood.
I feel like I know where this is
we
going.
used to ride bikes fucking everywhere. So there was this house, there was like an acre of open land, and then another house, and in this field we'd build ramps and all that kind of shit.
hell yeah.
Well, there was an old like pipe, like pump for water there, and one day
like a well, like a well pump.
yeah, just the pump though, and he crashed into that one day on his bike, and tore his sack open.
Oh shit!
So I don't know if he like separated his vas or not, but
So one might have like fallen out.
it could have. All I'm saying is it happens in nature.
Oh,
Shit just happens sometimes.
dude.
And that's why you wear a cup.
Yeah.
It's just
no shit.
that's what we do when our kids get old enough to be that wild. We just permanently put nut cups on them.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna wrap Roman
It's
in
like
fucking
just
bubble wrap.
trust me, kid. You gotta protect the family jewels. Jesus,
So
you just split open the bag,
He
huh?
just split it open. Had to go get
Oh
stitches.
my god. Yeah, Mother Nature is just weird. Like, why
She's a
would you
cruel
put
bitch
our
sometimes.
organs on the why would you put the ball sack on the outside?
So,
why does it have to be on the outside?
Did your guys' wife use that as an argument against you?
Is that your junk is on the
I
outside?
asked her, I'm like,
I don't
why,
follow.
Like, I asked her, like, why do I have to go through this? Like, why don't you go through this? And her response was straight that is, your shit's on the outside, it's easier.
Oh yeah.
Like, fuck, all right, yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, so as
Mine
far
already
as
pushed
like
3 kids out. I wasn't arguing.
yeah, right.
I was not very comfortable with somebody cutting open my sack.
So I was all about it, and that's the irony is that I was super excited about like just getting it done. I
And
didn't
then-
give a
then
shit,
you
and
had
then
the
I
worst
had the worst experience. But no, the reason why it's so different between the women and men is that like we have little to no hormonal changes.
Yeah.
We like sexually everything's still the same. We generally still have the same sex drive. It's very little changes for dudes except for the fact that you're shooting blanks. But for women, it
it
is
can completely
wild,
fuck 'em
like crazy hormone issues, and I think you can have like I don't know cysts develop or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that on
Well,
the
they have-
ovaries.
it's a lot more invasive too because their shit's buried inside of them.
Yeah, you're,
So
you're digging around
I
in
get
there.
that. So
You're not in and out in 45 minutes.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
In a clinic.
They're not
Oh, yeah.
awake.
yeah, no
They're
shit.
putting them under.
You're not listening to classic rock as some dude fucking slicing you
Wait,
open.
what were they listeing
I don't know.
to?
It's just some classic rock radio station. It's like listening to like Steely Dan. and shit like
That's
that.
hilarious.
Same.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
it's just
come on, man.
Def Leppard playing in the background
No,
and
nothing like that.
pour some sugar on me.
No, so you were rather excited. You seemed rather excited about yours. I actually got a little bit depressed after mine.
Really?
Yeah, I just had this really weird feeling of like, holy shit, I can't create life anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Like that took me a little while to get over that. It just
I did
I
have
felt
that
weird.
thought. So I was excited to get it over with because my wife wasn't on birth control. So we already were like really nervous about any intimacy because it's always a risk. We know that we don't want a third kid. So we had a lot of fear leading up to that and just very excited to get this over with. No stress going forward. But let me tell you, I was real fucking sad afterwards.
Yeah,
like I had a
same here.
window of time where I was like, I cried because I wanted a third kid, but it's just one of those situations where it's like I know it just in terms of our family, it changes a lot of things. It's like it's just not going to work for us. I got super bummed out for a little minute there,
Yeah,
so I get that.
I didn't
get
cry,
that feeling.
but I got really depressed. So I'm just like, fuck. Like I don't want any more kids by any means. Three is
Yeah,
a fucking
three is
enough.
plenty.
But just that thought of like, I can't create life anymore. Like I had that taken away from me almost. You know, it was a really weird feeling.
Yeah.
And I asked my wife a very dark question. I'm like, what if we have to have or decide to have another kid? And she's like, well, what do you mean? She's like, three's more than enough. I'm like, what happens if something happened to one of them and we decide to have another one?
That's a really good question. That's dark.
Yeah, it's
That's
a very
heavy.
dark question. And I didn't feel comfortable asking her, but I asked her. And she actually replied back with, we wouldn't try to have another one.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's good. But then she quickly followed up with, but it's reversible.
That's true. It is
Fuck.
reversible.
Like, all right, but
I'm too cheap to reverse it.
Yeah. I just don't want to go through it again.
yeah, I just don't want to go through it either.
I'd adopt if I had to get
God.
another one.
I'll just get another dog. I like dogs. And they're much easier to get rid of if you don't like them.
Yeah, just open the door.
Pretty much.
Bye, buddy.
Road trip. Yep, this is 10 miles from home. There you go.
man.
Go play in the woods.
So, did you have any post snip snap remorse?
Host. No, I was pretty happy I got it.
Because you've got 3 boys that are
Yeah.
wrecking your house as we speak.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully they're
Well, they're in
sleeping
bed right now, but yeah.
we just have the one little boy wrecking our house.
I mean, the thought crossed my mind, but I'm pretty content with the life I've already created.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, same here.
Exactly.
It's just a weird feeling though, like that. Like knowing your shit works and that you have the ability to create life, and then having it literally cut out of you, it just made me feel weird.
Yeah, it is weird,
like
isn't
an evening.
it?
I don't want to say I was depressed, but I was just kind of bummed almost.
It is a weird feeling knowing you're like willingly like disabling parts of
Yeah.
your physiology.
Yeah, exactly. God, that's a good point. Yeah, it's almost like it's like it's comparable to like impotence, where it's like I now no longer have this function that I prided myself on being able to do before.
Yeah, it
if
was
that
really
makes
weird.
sense. Yeah, it is a roller coaster to try and process, you know.
Yeah, but
God, it's crazy. It's a weird thing to go through. I mean, now coming out of it, you're really fresh, so you're still going through this range of emotions.
I'm excited for next week to see how things kind of.
I will say that things very much normalize.
That's good.
And at least for us, because again, my wife's not on birth control. It's been just so nice having zero stress about any intimacy and just being sort of settled into. I know your wife is on birth control,
Yeah, I
but
never had any
so
stress.
settling into just kind of permanence. We're just
Yeah.
like, okay, this is the plan going forward. So cool, we're here. We're
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. So my wife's body acts up a little different to birth control. Like it's effective, extremely effective for her, but it can cause her periods to be kind of all over the place at times and stuff like that. So seeing her not have to deal with that, I like that that aspect of like I'm glad I can do something to help her out. But I've told her, like, I gave her a shit the other day. I'm like, I modified my body for you, right? And then she looks at me, she's like, you're covered in tattoos. I'm like, yeah, but that was my choice. like
That's awesome.
I didn't say no to this, but I wasn't, like, jumping at the bit. Like, oh, yeah, let's get it done, you know?
You're not amped about it.
Yeah, I was kind of like, whatever.
I know. I wasn't amped about it either, but it's, I mean.
How could you?
Yeah.
Pretty tough to get amped for a procedure down there.
Did you ever throw the whole, like, well, I got snipped for you, so you get to do this for me type deal?
I know.
No? See, you got one. You got an ace up the sleeve now.
Nice, thanks, man. I
Yeah.
didn't even think of that. I'm gonna bust that one out one of these
Yeah,
days.
I played that card
Wait,
2
was-
days before.
Save that card for.
I'm going
Keep
to.
that one in the back pocket.
I'm gonna wait until the wife is like, when she's got that sort of cockiness where she's just like, yeah, I got you. You know, like we're in an argument or something like that,
Fucking
or
rip down your
whatever.
pants. Be like, look at this.
Yeah, I mean, see these scars?
You want to know how I got these scars?
I run these streets. Yeah, let's just
Scars?
save that
You have
one.
scars there?
No, I don't have scars.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, I hope not.
Well, yeah, I mean, like he did a little hole and then he just kind of tore it open like a plastic bag.
Looked like he was trying to repair a fucking hacky sack.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I got this done in the alley, you know.
So have you ever tried to refill
The
a
guy
beanbag
said he was a
chair?
doctor.
Looked like a Ziploc.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like when you're impatient about getting into a candy bag or something, just fucking rip
It's
it
like a
open.
Ziploc bag.
Things
With,
go flying everywhere.
it's like a
exactly.
Zip-
Skittles.
it's like a Ziploc bag with hamburger meat in it.
Pretty much. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad I got that done and out of the way.
Oh, good. Yeah, you were satisfied. You've now spoken your truth.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I would say satisfied. It is what it is. This is the first day I've actually felt pretty good, but I'm still happy I didn't go to work just because of what I do for a living.
Yeah. So
Would've been
you
kinda sore.
burst a stitch, right?
Both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want to elaborate? Like this is
Okay,
this is a great
so,
story so far.
I'm trying to
It really-
remember. It's their X's, right? Like the way that they
know.
stitch it, aren't they like
It looks like mine was trying to make a balloon animal and fucking failed halfway through.
yeah, mine were
I guess I didn't examine
puckering of skill.
his technique that closely.
Would you let him
Well-
stitch seats in your dime for you?
Yes.
Okay then.
Well, I'm not that picky.
That's true.
I'd let you stitch seats.
All right, that's fine. I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, get some material. I'll make you seats.
Okay,
I can fucking sell.
I'm sure you can.
It's okay.
So, yeah, like so you burst it. Is it literally just like a single stitch? Was it just like a one
I
loop
never
that they did?
examined the technique of the stitch that close. So
did he just try to act like he was tying shoes? So you had like two little bows hanging out.
Both
No.
sides.
he like double knotted it,
all I know is I probably exerted myself at work,
or just
a little
sneezed
too
really
much,
hard.
and the stitches weren't there anymore.
Oh no! But they were healed enough that it was a closed wound, right?
No, it was open.
Oh,
Like you could like look inside.
Yes.
Did you just go? Please
Tell me that you were examining the inside of your nutsack.
I wasn't. I was trying to just let it heal. I
Like,
wasn't-
what does the scrotum look? Or,
Did you
not
just go to
scrotum,
the first aid kit,
Testicle.
slap a Band-Aid on it, and then go back to work?
I would want to see the testicle. If it's open,
No,
I
no,
could just
no,
kind of move things
no.
around a little bit. Like, what does this look like?
I didn't want to like.
Ugh.
I wanted things to keep healing.
You guys never wonder what a testicle looks
Well,
like?
I've
No.
always wondered, but I want shit to heal up.
Like, does it look like a grape?
I've
I
seen-
figure it looks like a grape.
I've seen one.
I really don't
no.
want infection.
Wait. So this kid who ripped his scrot open, you saw a nut?
No, not in that scenario.
How'd you see a nut?
Yeah,
We have been to 3 bodies exhibits.
Is that like a sex thing?
No. You guys don't know what the bodies exhibits are?
It's a sex thing. No,
you
it's
uneducated
a
swine.
like science museum like
Sort of.
dissection thing.
Sort of.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like-
It's cadavers.
Does that really count though? Like if it's not like a living.
It was living at some point.
Well, it's not
Does it
anymore.
make you feel better that my wife was 7 months pregnant when we went to New York, and they had an exhibit on the process of growing a baby and all that? So they had,
Like live? Like it was like human.
at one point in time, yeah, they had embryos and babies at different stages.
Oh,
in
boy.
The process. I can't think of the word I'm looking for.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty fucked. So yeah, I've seen a testicle in that aspect.
So that's mind blowing. So you're telling me that you saw this would have been. Well,
would have been
I suppose
a baby
it's
if
not
it
necessarily like
survived whatever killed it.
Yeah, that's true. Because I suppose, like, in order
been a
for them
car
to
crash.
obtain these at these different points, it would have had to have died. And
yeah,
they're like,
it's
"Oh,
not-
quick, save it, put
It's
it
not
on
like they go to
ice."
the hospital like, who wants to make $100 today?
Oh my god! Do you think they just like call up a bunch of people and just like, "Okay, we got one. So which museum wants it? Put it on ice."
It's like an auction. They start bidding on it. I hear
That's
$500.
creepy.
So I have 6. No, it's probably organ donors. I'm assuming that's what
Oh,
those do.
sure.
Stuff like that. Go to one.
dark.
Go to one of those exhibits if you ever get the chance. Though it's kind of cool.
So I went to the one where it was like they split you in half, and you can kind of like see the whole like you can see all the insides, but it's sort of split in half. You can see all the like, layers. It's disgusting, but I went to that.
Oh yeah, human body is fucking weird.
It's really weird. It's
very weird.
What about you, Steve? You work on a pig farm a lot? Like,
No.
No.
Kind of insights have you seen?
Evidently not as much as you guys.
I was just trying to like lob up a softball. I'm like, what's he gonna do with this?
I guess the little millimeter of my ball sack I saw him kick out.
Yeah. So, did you see like what was in there? What was going on? Like, did a little gnome poke his head out? Like, what was?
Did you put your finger in there?
No, it was like, well, my wife being a nurse, I'm just like, check this out.
So wait, you sent her a picture because you were at work. So did you like?
No, I waited till I got home.
I was gonna say, do you send her like a selfie? Be like, look at my balls, and you fucking sent it off to her. And
what did she do?
She's like,
She go
fine.
like.
She's like, you're fine.
it's like, oh, that explains a lot.
Don't
That's
pick at
cool.
it.
Oh, no kidding. So just don't even worry about it. It'll heal itself up.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
Because I know it was really small incisions. Like they just cut a little teeny hole just enough so that they can like kind of reach one of those picks in there.
I think it's like half an inch on either side is what they said.
Well, the worst part was until the stitch actually dissolved, I could feel it poking me from the inside.
Oh, so it broke off and it's sitting inside of the bag.
And it was like poking me from the inside. Like,
oh,
God. Like,
what did that feel like?
Pokey.
I'm really glad you didn't write Lord of the Rings because Tolkien describes a tree over the course of like 4 pages. And you would have had that shit figured out in like half a sentence.
The tree is green and brown.
Exactly. Cool. Next thing. Okay, elves. Cool.
This
Pointy
podcast
ears.
is only so long. I don't need to use all the adjectives.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh man,
I was a little ornery though until it fully dissolved and quit
bet.
poking me.
Yeah.
So like every time you stepped, like
Or
was
like
it like
every time I moved just right,
stab.
it's like, hey, I'm still here.
God, that is awful.
Did they give you guys a goodie bag when you left? She
No.
gave me a bunch of fucking.
what?
She gave me a bunch of like little ointment packets. And
Oh
she's
yeah,
like,
I got that.
oh yeah. She's
Well,
like-
I mean, she just took one whiff of you, and she's like, "This kid needs help."
she probably saw me like, fuck.
He needs to
This
set
one's
his
not very clean.
Oh yeah. So I got,
hygiene games week.
She handed you a hygiene pack that have a toothbrush and Colgate in it too. She's just like, you need all the
oh
help.
man, that's a flea collar. No, so I did get a weird look from her though. So I stripped down. I'm in
Is
the
it because you hit on her?
No, I didn't hit on her. She's cool, but she's not attractive. I mean,
Did you put the gown on backwards?
She's a lot like.
He was like wagging it after.
No, but so I'm laying there in the fucking gown and all that stuff, and no, you can get a shot. No, I'm like, oh great, I don't like needles. And she looked at me. She looked at my body. Then she looked at me. Looked back at my body. Looked back at me, and just kind of gave me this look of like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I suppose.
Like,
Should I try to find the track marks? Or?
like it's a different kind of needle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly.
It's not an injection.
It feels more like they're dragging something sharp across your skin.
Yeah, it's like getting
not
clawed
like
by a cat, not like
Yeah.
here's a needle under your fucking balls.
That is horrifying though. Like as you were describing your experience, it took me right back. Like I was seeing each step of it.
Oh man.
Like that when they pull out that needle and you see the doctor like holding it up in front of you and you're like, oh no.
Well, it
I
probably
do
just,
remember looking up and he was like drawing it back, filling it. I'm just like, oh shit, that's a big needle.
It is a big motherfucker.
It probably didn't help that the week before I watched Pulp Fiction with my stepdad.
Nice.
So all I can think of is the overdose scene.
Yeah,
And the
where
fucking
it
needle
shoots
that's like that
what is
long.
it, adrenaline
Yep.
into the heart. Yeah.
I gotta stab her 3 times. No. But I'm just thinking of that as he's fucking prepping the needle and all that. Just,
Yeah.
ugh.
Oh man. Yep.
Let's
Good
not ever
times.
go through that again.
Well,
Ever.
hopefully you won't ever have to.
I'll find out in a week.
Yeah. It didn't
2
take,
weeks.
and they got to go back in and re-dice it.
Oh god, I'd be knock me out this time around.
Yeah.
Or something else. Give me a heavier
It's,
drug. Let me drug myself before you guys
Well,
do it.
isn't it like if you're awake, it's like an $1,800 procedure, but if you're asleep, it's like 10 grand
it
or 8
triples or
grand or
some shit
something like
like
that. Yeah, it's a crazy price difference.
I just want to know, can I drug myself before they do it? Because I could get my hands on some stuff that's way stronger than what they gave me.
Yeah, like what would you be drugging yourself
I have no
with?
fucking clue. I don't know. I'd probably just pay you $20 to hit me in the head with a bat.
I mean, as long as you don't like pass out or like, I'm sure it's like a don't ask, don't tell situation.
Yeah, right. So don't do ecstasy before.
No.
That might intensify things a little.
Don't do Molly.
That's ecstasy.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That
I'm just
shows
trying
how
to think
well I
of
know my
like
drugs.
what.
Mushrooms would be a bad idea.
Yeah, what would be a good? I mean, really, it'd be more of like a narcotic.
Yeah.
So realistically, them giving you a benzo is perfect. That's the right drug to give
I
you.
want more though. Give me 2. Make me
Yeah.
really fucking
So
relax.
I will say that like when it kicked in, I was like, oh, this is nice, but I was hoping for more.
Yeah, same here. Actually, I remember saying that to the
I wanted to
nurse.
be stoned. For
Yeah,
this.
I wanted to actually know I was on something.
I straight up asked
it was
her.
subtle.
I'm like, I've never taken diazepam. I'm like, how will I know when it kicks in? And she's like, oh, you'll just feel really comfortable and all that. And I remember telling her, I'm like, can I just get more than like 5 milligrams isn't much. Like double that. Like,
Can you inject it into my neck?
Yeah, let me feel really relaxed.
Yeah, but the fact that you know that 5 milligrams isn't enough might be a red flag.
Yeah,
That's
she
true.
kind of gave me a weird look after that. Whatever.
Oh man.
I went to college.
Well, it's crazy to think
happen.
that like people used to get prescribed that every single day. Valium used to just be a normal med that you could take every day. And now they're finding that like the addiction to it, you have like a cognitive addiction to it, and like a mental and a physical addiction to it. And apparently like coming off of it is comparable to narcotics.
I can see that.
Really bad
drugs are-
withdrawals.
Drugs are weird, and how each of them just go. Some will completely fuck you up, and others will just kind of chill you out for a little bit.
Yeah, right. I know, it's just nutty.
That's what
Jesus
it is.
Christ.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, I got something to show you here, man. And I'm going to go ahead and flip on over to a screen share so the people can see it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, please keep your pants on. He doesn't want to see your incision marks.
I would say, how'd you heal up?
I have no swelling, thankfully.
Really?
I have a little bit of bruising, no swelling. She told me she's like, put 20 minutes of ice on, then 20 minutes off, 20 on, 20 off. And I did that nonstop the rest of the day Monday and Tuesday.
See, they
all
even
day.
told me that I should expect like severe swelling and bruising on my left side,
Nope.
and it never did.
Yeah, they told me like
So I'm thankful for that.
she's like if it swells up like the size of melons, then come in. Like that's a pretty big fucking window we're talking about here.
All right. So I know that you're all about. Oh,
Oh.
man. Am I just screwing everything
All
up
about
here?
that base.
So I don't know how well you can see this, but
That's fucking cool.
That's
so
a unique bucket.
you love tea buckets, right?
Yes.
That's Volkswagen-based.
Really? Is that like a Volkswagen 4-pan?
Yeah. So this is actually a bug. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know what motor's in it or whatever, but it's weird looking, right? It's a wild little thing. I saw this and
Is there-
immediately thought about you.
That's
I was
super cool though.
Kind of curious what the front end looks
Weird.
like.
So it's a single pumper, whatever that
This
is.
should be a bike motor.
I kind of like how
Yeah.
they just chop the hood. Like, yeah, it's dead weight.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, come on. Is it gonna work? There we go.
I have mixed feelings on the wheels. Like, I like them, but at the same time, I don't.
They're motorcycle wheels.
They are
Those-
bike wheels. They're
Those are XS 400.
yeah. Weird.
Yeah, that's
that
a-
you used to have one of those.
Yep. So I know. I still
That's so
I still
funny.
have part of that bike. I used that fuel tank for my heater in my garage.
That's so funky looking. And I love that like they used oak barrels as like the those rear little quarters.
My only thing is it looks backwards to me. Because it's rear engine.
Yeah,
It
that's
just-
true.
it
It
just
does
look-
look a little weird.
It looks a little
Do they
backwards
use the
to me.
stock Volkswagen suspension parts, or do they use like a SoCal front end?
Well, oh, for sure this is different in the back.
What's the front?
The front is not a torsion beam. So they did it looks like they did something
Some
different.
sort of I-beam.
Let's see if we've got a front. We don't got a front picture. Damn. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they did for
It's
the
hard to
front
tell
end.
What's going on there?
So we got shocks there.
That
So-
is a pretty epic build, though.
Weird.
But
maybe it's a beam. I don't know.
those are motorcycle brakes on there too.
You know, there's a link. There's a link a little bit lower down here. I'm not sure what all this crap
It
is in
almost
the
looks
back.
like a cantilever set up with a shock there.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think it's a front beam. But yeah, those are totally the motorcycle brakes too. Like, I saw this and I was like, oh, we got to talk about it because there's so much like weird engineering going on in it.
There's a lot to
Like,
break
there's another
down
barrel.
I like it.
There's
It's
a barrel
just
under the
fucking
hood.
weird.
That's one of those builds you can just sit there and look at and just keep picking it apart and find different things.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I love the creativity of it. It's so funky. And yeah, so I believe that this is Volkswagen based. I think it's a Volkswagen pan. It's on Ruin VW's page.
Yeah.
Which is it's a good page.
Oh, here we go.
That's a fun page to be a part of.
67 Bug runs a 2002 Aprilia 1000cc V-twin water-cooled engine. Wow.
That's cool.
Adjustable rear swing arm.
Okay, so it is actually swing arm rear end. Hydraulic clutch. Wow. Yeah, I love the creativity. And it's funny like how much you can do with Volkswagen-based stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's
They're Legos. You can build whatever you want out of them.
yeah, exactly. They're plentiful. So, I mean, if you
For
find
the
one of
most part,
these
yeah.
where you literally have just a pan, and if you can get a title for it, you've got yourself a chassis to build off of. Yeah, it's just it's reminiscent, in my opinion, of like it's reminiscent of like pre-war stuff where we're talking about Model A's, Model T's, and building
there's definitely
T-buckets and all kinds of crazy
T-bucket
shit.
inspiration there.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought Steve's got to check this out because you'll get a
I
kick out of
appreciate
it.
Have you bought a T-bucket yet?
Not yet. Well, so
All the stock gains are gone now.
well
You let me down.
That
Let me
is part of
down.
the problem. But so I actually went. There was one in an auction about a few months ago, and I actually went and looked at it as part of the auction. And I was fully intending on bidding on it, but I went and sat my large ass in it, and I did not fit whatsoever.
Yeah, that sucks.
It took because I've been wanting to build a T-bucket for so long, and I finally got to sit in one, and I did not fit whatsoever. I mean, depending on how much metal work I do, I could probably like, stretch, and
Yeah, you could kind of make it work.
I could probably do like some extensive body work and make it like fit it to me.
Body work or like body work?
Well,
Is he
little
gonna
both.
shorten his femurs?
Well, I could probably stand to lose a couple pounds.
Yeah, but I'm assuming your problem
It's more
wasn't
height.
the midsection; it
the
was
biggest
your
problem
height.
was my height.
Yeah.
I could see that.
My
Because
knees
you're
are way up here, and
You're 6'2".
it's 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
definitely see that.
That
That's
would be
my fear
tough.
with a Brat. I want a first gen Brat
Are they
really
little?
badly, but the first gens are small compared to the second gens.
Yeah,
You don't have that fucking problem.
no, I don't. And I
Lucky
was just
bastard.
gonna say that's kind of nice because regardless of what I want to drive, like I could buy a fucking Japanese key car and I could fit in some little tiny thing.
It's funny how the world works. You have that advantage, but we had smooth vasectomies, so. So I don't know.
I know,
It all
like
balances itself
clearly
out.
I need to exercise my benefit side too, so I need to go buy some little tiny thing. I'll get a tea bucket and taunt you in it.
That's all right. I can admire it.
Yeah. So that's a shame, but I mean, they make there's options, right?
There
Like,
are options. I
You
get,
either
like,
build
the
off a
larger-
different chassis or
Yeah, I would get a larger fiberglass body, an aftermarket that one's been like already stretched and widened, or I could do it myself to a steel body, or I could just get a Model A or
Oh,
yeah, that's
do
true.
like a
Something to work with.
27 or a 28. Or there's options. I mean,
Well, and in theory, this is kind of a forever car for you.
most likely.
Because it's a dream. You've been talking about building a T-bucket since I first met you, which was 15 years ago or something like that.
a hot minute.
Yeah. So realistically, if you build one, it's a like, I'll never get rid of this thing. It's exactly what I've always wanted. So you might as well find a steel body and just cough up the money and say, okay, here you go, auto shop or custom shop or whatever. Stretch this fucker. give me, because I mean, sectioning and all that kind of shit, that's so commonplace with these classics. And I mean, building patch panels and whatever, for them to stretch that thing out 6 inches or 8 inches or whatever it needs to fit you in it. Yeah, it's going to cost a little bit of money, but you're working with a steel body then. That's cool.
I'd like to try to do it myself just because it's part of the journey.
Yeah.
More of a stamp that I.
But you can't put money on time.
Yeah, I know it is. That is a handful, isn't it? Where
Yeah.
it's just like you're always assessing the time versus money thing. I know. I get Steve's sentiment about it though,
Oh, yeah.
where it's
Oh,
like
100%.
building it yourself.
You could take a lot more
You
pride
know,
in it that way.
grabbing an English wheel or fucking bag of shot and bashing steel and trying to form, the panel to stretch the thing. Like that'd be pretty cool to actually do that yourself for sure.
I've been watching a lot more closely, just because I'm a tightwad, instead of building it completely from scratch, been watching for someone's like started projects or finishing someone else's project or taking it in my own direction, just because there's like some pretty incredible deals out there if you look for them.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
are there?
Somebody
And
who just
you're-
needs it gone because they lost interest. And
Yeah.
they're willing to just take a cut on it or whatever.
Pile of parts and whatever.
Yeah, or a fella dies and then his wife is left to try and sell it off or
Jesus.
something.
Yeah, there's lots of situations like that. As long as you're out there keeping your eye open, someday
the key.
someday I'll find.
That'll happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
when it's meant to be, it'll happen.
And that is one thing about in terms of if you're looking for classic cars, this is kind of your window of time where that's starting to happen. The age group that is the most common to own those, they're the most likely to have this situation where a fellow who owns something, he
They're dying
passed.
off.
Yeah, that's it. They're literally dying
Just to be
off.
blunt about
I
it.
must be looking at the wrong shit then. 'cause
So
everything I've been looking at is just expensive as hell.
well, because you're looking at Bratz or you're looking at El Caminos from
Yeah.
in 1959. So like what you're trying to find is a very desirable car.
Fair enough.
By the generation that has the money right now.
Yeah.
For sure. And if you're looking at Bratz are still like they're popular in Gen Xers and they're popular in millennials and like so
Fucked regardless.
yeah, you'll never really like now is probably it's one of these things like if you want one, buy one yesterday kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's probably only gonna get harder from here on out. Whereas Steve and I, we both love he loves pre-war, I love my 50s cars. So it's like if we ever wanted to get something else, or if Steve's trying to find a T-Bucket or whatever Model A, it's only there's gonna be more opportunities here very soon, or it's already starting to happen.
Yeah, I've been kind of waiting to see how the market goes. I mean, I guess I'm not sure how many more people our age are actually searching these kind of cars out.
Not that many.
So in theory, unless like these whales that are just going to scoop them up and
yeah, and
put them
that's
in
the thing.
collections will artificially keep the market high, which is yet to be seen. I hope that doesn't happen. But
That happened with Porsches, but I don't know that that's going to happen with Model A's.
but a lot of these pre-war cars aren't like super high-end like collection-worthy cars too.
And that's a huge difference. There were so many, like when the rat rod craze picked up, I think that was the start of the ultra inflated pre-war cars, where suddenly everybody wanted, because I think Jesse James was one of the ones that like kind of popularized it. Like obviously it was already out there, but I think he built it was like a two-door, so it was like a Model A two-door, which is a 2 doors, but it's a sedan Model A. And I think he built like a very typical beam in the front, kind of set up traditional like rat rod, hot rod kind of blend. But all of a sudden, at some point, everything just it popped, and then it was really hard to kind of come by these things, and rat rods became popular. They're everywhere, and you used to be able to get a Model A chassis or Model A cab for next to nothing, and now that's kind of, especially a coupe, it's very hard to find, and they're expensive.
That's just how that goes. Though. I mean, anybody with influence build something, and prices just skyrocket on them.
And I think when that happened, you ended up with a lot of guys that were building these rat rods. So now, when these things are starting to come available again, we're seeing a lot more of them that are sitting on rat rod builds with inflated prices.
And I've been watching those too because, well, they can still be good starting points, but
Absolutely.
the price ranges are just insane.
All over the place.
Because they're literally from one end of the spectrum to the other. They could be dirt cheap or just super, just throwing in a number at the wall and see if someone bites.
I've seen from 3,000, 4,000 running driving rat rods. It might have it's usually a two-door. It's usually a Model A two-door. All the way on up to like $18,000 to $20,000 for these rats.
People asking like
Jesus.
over 30
For our fucking rat rod?
Yeah.
God damn.
Better be a hell of a rat rod.
I mean,
then.
no
these
shit.
kind of prices, you know, like shake your head and like what?
Yeah, that's
But like
insane.
I've seen ads where people
Yeah,
listings that are literally that high.
It's
just
one of
the
those-
full spectrum of
it's one of those things. It's worth
Jesus.
whatever somebody's willing to pay.
Well, and that's
That's
the
just
truth. Yeah. It's like, are these things actually selling? So what's really interesting, especially right now, I don't know, because I think you guys probably scour Marketplace and
I look for things when I
Craigslist.
shouldn't,
Yeah. Are there any particular things you're searching for where you're just like, how is this price that inflated?
Volkswagen bugs.
Bugs are
They're
like
fucking
that. Yeah.
everywhere, and they've skyrocketed in price. You used to get a clean running driving bug for like $3,000, and now you're not touching one unless you got 5K on you.
Oh yeah, I think it's higher than that even.
Yeah.
Like 5K, you get kind of it might have soft channels.
Exactly. So like they just skyrocketed in price for some reason.
Yeah, 10 grand is the new like awesome, like it's a great driver and
Yep.
it's not soft. It doesn't have rotten holes. Yeah. What about you, Steve? Is there anything that you've been keeping your eyes open for that's like, what the fuck happened to these prices?
basically just the pre-war stuff. And I think it's just those guys out there like starting high and seeing what they get offered.
Yeah, I could see that. Because that's one thing, like, I feel like the pre-war, it's almost like, if it's 1958 and older, because I leave out 59 because we've got the El Camino and we've got the Ranchero. The 59 was a special year for a lot of different cars. But I feel like anything from 58-ish and older, that inflation didn't hit them nearly as hard.
No.
Because I'm talking... we almost saw like a 40-50% increase in vintage Porsches over the pandemic. I mean, we're talking a pile of shit is $25,000 now. Like, you want a really nice like 911 SC. This is just a what do they call it? Super Carrera, which is like the non-big wide body, non-turbo ones. They're now all over like 50 grand,
Holy
$60,000. This is for like a 77, 1980, kind of in that window, just simply 911 with like a 3-liter in it.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Craziness.
Just because it's an old Porsche.
And Hondas. Something
Honda's that
crazy happened with Hondas. You want a really nice clean Integra? It's 10 grand now. It doubled in price.
Don't
Well, I
forget,
mean-
E30s are the same way.
Yeah, E3s did it too.
Yeah, I saw one thing was in an accident in the front, so it needed a headlight, bumper, and fender, and the guy was still asking like $35 for it.
Well, I mean, like Integras or E30s, like how many are actually still surviving?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
Or unmolested.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like those numbers have to be dwindling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Slowly.
It's so hard to find a clean E30.
Del
nowadays.
Sols are getting harder to come by, which shocked
I
me.
believe it.
They were everywhere for a while there, and now it's getting a little harder to find them.
Well, they probably got cheap, and all these kids riced them out or thrashed them.
And that's it.
Huh.
So there's.
I de-riced. I riced and then de-riced.
I was trying really hard not to call anyone out.
No,
fuck
throw
it.
shade, throw
Totally
shade.
call them out on that
It's
shit.
okay. I know what I did. Believe me. I put Lambo doors on it for a weekend, and then I was like, yeah, no, fuck this. Yeah, I riced. It's okay. We all go through our stages. One car that like
don't think
blew
he
my
left.
mind. Oh, one car or one vehicle that's blown my mind is 4Runners. So before the pandemic, you could get a 4th gen 4Runner like mine for $6,000. $6,500, something like that. And I bought mine for $8,900. So the price is inflated a good $3,000 there. I want to say like 2 months later, I'm seeing these prices at like $12,000. Now I'm seeing them for $20,000 for a 4th gen 4Runner.
Jesus.
Now, granted, these are like they're perfect. They're spotless. They've got quality mods on them, but still, I never in my life thought that I was going to see a $20,000 2007 4Runner.
Well, that's how it is for smaller trucks. That Tacomas and the Frontiers just skyrocketed out of the blue too.
That's so weird.
Well, I was looking at inflation data, and that was it was either the highest column or the second highest column. That I can't remember the exact numbers. I wish I could recall them now, but that the used car markets got hit harder than anything else, inflation-wise.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because nobody can afford a new car, so everything else went up because everyone's buying used now. And
It's not even afford. It was just availability.
A lot of manufacturers aren't putting new cars out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And even if you are buying one, you're basically buying them incomplete. And you have, like, when these computer chips or modules or pieces, they're basically calling them back like recalls and making them the cars they've already sold complete.
So wait. You're telling me that people are driving cars off the lot that are lacking features?
Yes.
Whoa. This is weird.
yeah,
that is weird.
I wouldn't be paying for an incomplete
So
car.
according to
cow.
the salesman, if you believe everything the salesman tell you, so like when my parents just bought a new truck, supposedly they bought the last complete pickup Kohler had on their lot.
What?
Otherwise, like the chip that controls like the heated seats and like some other pieces, like
Wow.
they're literally every other truck on the lot was incomplete.
So this,
If you believe what the salesman was saying,
so this superconductor
which I don't doubt it
facility
either.
that's getting built in Ohio can't get built fast enough. Jesus. Wait, it was a superconductor, wasn't it? Or chip
I'm not
facility
sure.
or something like that? And maybe I'm talking about the same thing. That's just insane. This is absolutely insane. Well, like as far motorcycles are similar too, because I went into the dealership and normally you'd just walk in there and you'd say like, "Hey, cool. I want, in my case, I want a 2021 or 2022 Rebel 1100," and they'll say, "Okay, cool. Well, we have one on the lot, or we don't have one, but hey, I'll order one up and it'll be here in 5 days from Iowa," or something like that. So it was no big deal to just get whatever you wanted, and it was there in no time if they didn't have it on the showroom floor. And now it's the point where we're talking like, so we're gonna get 3 Rebels from Honda,
If
3
we're lucky.
1100s. One might be a DCT, one might be a manual. We don't know which one's going to be which, and it's going to arrive at some point this summer.
Jesus Christ.
Like, it's absolutely insane.
It's crazy.
Such a shit show.
It is a shit show. And you know what else is a shit show?
Us.
My vasectomy experience.
Yep. And on that bombshell.
So let's wrap this thing up. Thanks, Steve, for joining us. This is another good podcast.
My pleasure.
Thank
It was
you.
funny.
Anytime.
Thank you for saying something.
Hashing out our nutsack dissections.
God. Bunch of mixed nuts and whatnot. So
Sorry,
Yeah.
mine wasn't more traumatic.
No, that's a
That's-
good
that's
thing.
probably for the
I'm
best.
genuinely happy for you.
Yeah, I'm not sad about it.
Well, yeah, like even our texting the days after, like it just seemed very straightforward for
Yeah,
you. I was
yeah.
like, oh, okay, he didn't have any excitement.
let's be completely honest. Jake had it coming.
I probably deserved it. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for another Brews with the Dudes podcast. We will try and see you next week. We'll probably see you next week.
Most likely.
But we can't guarantee it. Don't hold us to it. Bye-bye.
See ya.